Welcome back to Two Guys in the Outdoors.
Yes, we're good.
Scenario 2.
Scenario 2.
That's right. First scenario, we talked about the classic off the roost. Everything goes right. Dead turkey.
Yes.
Okay. So scenario 2. And this happens more than scenario 1. Scenario 2 is the same thing. We're getting there an hour before sunrise. We're listening. We hear turkey. We move. We get into position. And that turkey flies off. And we call to him. Nothing. He gobbles. Ooh. All right. So first scenario, he cut me off when I was calling. His temperature was hot. All right. So now he answered me, but he didn't cut me off. All right. So he's kind of a lukewarm temperature, so to speak. Okay. Nothing. All right. I wait a minute or so. More is less when it comes to turkey hunting. And what I mean by that is less calling is better than more calling. You got to have patience there. Like I said earlier, I'm an aggressive hunter. I'm an aggressive hunter when it comes to moving. I'm not an aggressive hunter when it comes to calling. Okay. Because I'm reading the temperature of that turkey. All right. So I call again. And he gobbles, but he's further away. Okay. So what's two scenarios are going on here? One, he might have hens. Those hens could have come to him when he was on roost, got to him, and you didn't hear them, or they might have been further down the ridge or wherever they were. So he flies off, and maybe he's got hens. All right. So he's got what he wants.
Okay.
So he gobbled, and he's feeding along, and he's moving with those hens wherever they're going, right? The second scenario here is, could be an older gobbler. He's got some age on him, maybe a 3 or 4 year old bird. And he could be going to what's called a strut zone. A strut zone is an area where that turkey can see. It's typically an open area because they can see. And that's where that turkey gathers his harem of hens every day.
So this would be like a power line clearing or the logging roads or stuff like that. Okay.
It can be an open ridge, open flatwood, hardwood ridge. It can be a field. It can be a railroad track. It can be an old logging road. It's a place where he's gathered hens before. He can strut around and do his courtship.
So it doesn't
and he can see as far as protection.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be an open area. If you get a flat hardwoods ridge,
he can see a long way. Yeah.
But there's still trees everywhere. Yeah. That's okay.
That's still a strut zone. So when you're out scouting the area that you want to, like the video we did where we saw the scratching in the road. Mm-hmm. We had the pines on the left and the hardwood ridge on our right. That logging road could be a strut zone, but probably most likely the top of that ridge is probably going to be his strut zone.
Which I've seen them there.
So he can see, he's up high, and those hens can kind of come to him. So I call to that turkey, and maybe he gobbles again, he's even further away. So there, all right, that turkey's not coming to me. So I'm set up, I got my shotgun, I've got all my camo on, that turkey's getting further away. All right. I tell people, I want to be where the turkeys want to be. Right. So that turkey's going away from me. So if I've done my homework and I've done my scouting, I might have an idea where he's going. So let's say at the bottom of this ridge, it might be a hardwood bottom where these ridges run off into just a flat in the might be a river bottom, might be an old logging road, could be a power line. We're going to say it's a power line down there.
Okay.
So a long, narrow, grassy area. All right. Don't keep calling. It's time to move. So I'm getting up, I'm packing my calls up, I'm grabbing my gun, and I'm not going to go straight down the ridge where he was. I'm going to drop off, get up on the other ridge, and I'm going to try to get down to that power line to where I can get set up, because in my mind, that's where he's going. He's going to that strut zone where he can gather his hens, and I might be able to get him. So I'm getting up and I'm moving. I'm going to go down the hollow, get up on the other ridge, and I'm going to the power line. So
You're still going to try to stay up higher than what you think.
I'm going to the power line.
Oh, okay.
So I'm booking it. I'm covering ground. I'm not calling anymore. That turkey's answered me. He's going away from me. I know there's a power line down there, so I'm going to get to that power line. But I'm going to get to that power line without spooking him or the hens that might be with him.
So you're kind of giving him a good wide
breath.
Yep,
I'm getting a loop, right? I might back out and get in my truck and drive 2 ridges over and
try
then
to get around to the other side.
Or if it's walking, driving, UTV, ATV, whatever it is, I have an idea where he's going. So
this is why it's good to know the
terrain.
The terrain, whether you did it on e-scouting or a topography type map, whatever it is, understanding what your ins and outs are.
Exactly. So we made the move. We get to the power line. All right. So now I'm going to try to locate him again. I'm not a big believer in crow calls or owl hoots. A lot of people use those. And there's good and bad in that. The good is, I sound like an owl. That might make him shock gobble, but he's not necessarily tuned into me. He's not looking at me because I didn't make a hen sound, right? But a lot of times those turkeys may not answer that. You know what I mean? So I've made a move. I'm at the power line. I'm not set up. Well, I might be at the edge of that power line, and I'm gonna call to him.
You're just doing a location type call just to see if he answers.
He gobbles, and I was right. He might be 200 or 300 yards down the power line. So now I can stay in the woods and cut down the side of that power line, cut the distance a little bit, ease out to the edge of that power line to where I can see the power line, and I can either set a decoy up or I can just set up, get my gun and stuff ready, call to him, and hopefully he'll come up that power line because he's in his safe place. He's in his strut zone where he normally gathers hens. I'm sounding like a hen, so hopefully he'll come into me. Boom. Dead turkey.
So basically this scenario, same as before, but you had to chase him down a little bit.
I had to move. I had to get to where he wanted to be.
Yeah. You didn't scare him off.
That's right.
You had to move because he wasn't quite interested in you at the beginning.
He either had hens or he was going to where he knows it's safe to gather hens.
Okay.
Right? So a lot of people don't give these old turkeys credit, but these turkeys are a lot smarter than what we give them credit for.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, yeah. So
that's the second scenario.
Yeah. So we moved. Same thing. We got up in the morning. We listened. We tried to get as close to that turkey on the roost as possible. We waited for him to fly down. We made a call, but this turkey wasn't as interested. He still gobbled, right? But he went away from us. So we made a move because we knew the terrain that we were hunting, and we knew that there was a good area where they feed and strut and they feel safe. And we got to that area and we set up and we called him up that power line and we shot him.
Yeah.
So scenario 2.
So that's why you want to be understanding that you may have to move. It's not all day sits like deer hunting, maybe.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's scenario 2.
Stay tuned for more.